All right, I'm kicking this thing off. You know what? Why don't you do the intro today, Casey?
Nah, let you do it because I'll stumble through. I don't rehearse the intro.
I don't either.
Yeah, you can hit record anytime now.
Okay, I already hit it.
I know you do that shit on purpose.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wanted you to do it. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Dirty and Driven Podcast. This is the show where we bring people to the blue collar world and hopefully give them a little bit of light and wisdom on how to kick ass in this crazy world. That's what we're all trying to do. Our mission here is to gain, train, retain solid, hardworking individuals in the trades. My name is James Deviney. I am your host on this fine, beautiful, whatever day you're listening to it. I'm joined today and every day that we record by the talented, very talented, fluffed up, ready to go. Women love him. Husbands fear him. Casey D.
Fluffed up, huh?
Fluffed up. We've been rolling for like an hour without hitting record. We've just been talking, so I'd say we're warmed up.
A lot to catch up on. And it's good to be back in the studio.
Dude, every week I just feel like this is time to just catch up on life. Whatever's going on in our lives, this is the time that we catch up onto it. And then hopefully we get an audience that wants to listen to it.
Yeah, we've been road warriors the last couple weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, dude, the last 2 weeks we've been in the remote office. It feels good to be back. For the listeners, if you're watching on YouTube, the intro was this sign here. That's our new office decoration. We just brought it in this morning, so we haven't hung it on the wall. And we probably won't for like 6 or 7 months, knowing us. It's just going to sit there. But for now, that's the best road sign ever made. It's for those that are just listening, it's the picture of kind of a stick figure kid and handwritten in like a kid's handwriting, "My daddy works here." And that's just to remind all you guys listeners who the fuck you're listening to. Whenever you walk in this studio, your dad's in here and you better listen up.
Is there a lot of pushback, or are there any signs that says "My mommy works here," "My they them works here"?
You don't see this sign much anymore. I've seen it. Dude, in the last year, I dropped through a lot of highway jobs, dude. I mean, a lot of big ones. I mean, obviously anybody who drives through the highway does, but I actually look for that sign a lot if I'm on a lot of highway jobs because I think it's a great sign. And you don't see them much anymore. I think they used to actually spec them out in the jobs and the plans and everything. Like if you look at a set of highway plans, it tells you what signs to put where as your traffic control plan. That's all in there by the engineer. You know, you might make little minor tweaks just like anything, but you don't see those just being put out on the jobs. If they're out there, it's probably because that contractor put them out there on their own accord.
Yeah.
I have seen some that say, "My family works here, my parents work here." I've never seen them in person. I've only seen those online. Every now and then you still see a "My daddy works here" sign though. Actually in our break room, where I work, we have one in there, and I remind the guys a lot. And we have women that work for us in the field, multiple. And, you know, I just remind them, you know, hey guys, remember, you know, you got kids that you want to go home to, you know, that sign back there, it puts it into perspective for you. This sign right here, what is great about this sign is you humanize those construction workers. So you drive by that and you say, oh shit, these guys want to go home to their kids too. Just like I'm in a hurry to get home to see my kids, these guys want to see their kids too at the end of the day. And that's why that sign's great. I mean, you see like fines double when you're in the work zone, $10,000 fine if you hit our workers. Dude, that's so robotic, canned.
Yeah.
You know, you see those signs everywhere. $10,000 fine for littering, $10,000 fine for hitting a road worker. For some reason, those are the same fine. I guess it's all trash, right?
Yeah.
No, you know, it's just, but that sign really humanizes the work zone and kind of makes you think. So I think that's a great sign right there, man. I'm happy that we got one for our studio.
Yeah, you get the same fine, kind of like you get the same incarceration for doing a small little robbery or burglary compared to killing somebody.
Yeah.
Or maybe, having a little weed on you. You get the same years in jail as a murderer.
Yeah.
But you get the same fine for littering or hitting a worker. It's it's like, hey, that doesn't add up.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the same amount of jail time for banging a porn star and the same amount of felonies. Are
there regular porn actors? I mean, are there times that they're not stars, or are you immediately in the star category for doing porn?
I'm assuming that, I don't know. I mean, I would think from my perspective, okay, you have a movie star. I could go be in a B-rated movie, right? I wouldn't say I'm a movie star. I'd say I was in a movie. I'm, an actor, if you will. But I wouldn't be walking down the street and everybody, holy, is that James Devaney from that B-rated movie? I mean, I would just say that would make you an actor. So,
but where's the threshold on someone becoming a star? Like in the movies,
views.
Or like
it's got to be views.
Yeah, but there was a time. I mean, views,
coming up, practicing,
like in the 1950s, they didn't go off of views to call somebody, Frank Sinatra a movie star. That might have been the 60s, but
I think they were still going off views.
Yeah,
views or sales.
Yeah,
because back then you couldn't
so
stream.
But what was the threshold for sales?
Movie tickets, probably theater tickets, because they didn't have TVs in their houses for the most part. So it was based off of theater ticket sales, and I guess for music sales.
Are there
how many people are going to the shows?
Are there podcast stars?
I'd say so. But you don't call them that.
Yeah. So it's only for the porn business and the
movie business.
The movie. All right. Yeah. That makes sense.
There's
now you have all stars.
There's TikTok stars, I guess. Instagram stars. Now you wouldn't really say Instagram star, but I've heard of like TikTok stars.
Kind of like the Hawk Tuohy star.
Yeah. Dude, that girl went famous fast.
Ain't that something?
I never even saw the original video. I've only seen the memes of it.
The original video, the guy was just,
It was like, what's one thing?
Yeah, he was just interviewing girls on the street about the bedroom or something. And she goes, sometimes you got to Hawk Tuohy spit on that thing.
Dude, the thing that sucks about a video like that is, and I don't know the girl. I don't know anything about the girl. Literally more than the memes, I don't know anything. But like, I think of that as like myself. Cause like if you meet me in person, I'm going to say a little bit of off the wall stuff, but like back in college, like there'd be shit going on all the time. Like if I was on the street in Nashville, I'd say some dumb stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like stuff that you're just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
There's somebody walking around and you're just like, oh yeah, you don't think anything of it. And now all of a sudden you're a mega star and like, your mom and your dad and your pastor and your friends and your grandma are all seeing like, this video and you're just like, I'm so embarrassed. And like, she's probably got thousands of dudes in her DMs thinking that she's just some whore, and you're just like, dude, that could be any of us, just saying some dumb shit on camera like that. That's just funny. Like you're not indicative of her personality at all, but just funny something. And then now you're blown up. The number one trending thing this week.
Well, good for her. She leaned into it instead of like avoiding it, because now she's doing the merchandising and all that shit. So she's going to be super wealthy.
And that's good, man. I mean, if you get 5 minutes of fame, dude, because next week people, you might still see the meme here and there, but it's going to be on to the next thing.
Yeah. It'll be around for a while though.
It'll be around, but it's not going to be like it has been the last few days.
Yeah. I like the AI country songs and rap songs and all the stuff now that have put the Hawk Tuohy to the side.
The remixes. Yeah, you can't beat that. Dude, yeah, That's how I am sometimes. It's kind of like with us whenever, you went viral with your shit video. It's like that's the one. That's the one.
Dude, I almost literally, this is no joke, came here to the studio and bathroom 2 back there.
Yeah.
The farther back, that one's strictly for the number 2.
Yeah.
Well, I went in there in number 2 this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got up to do the old flush, and I'm not kidding. The water was out of the bowl. Like, I don't know, for some reason, the water had drained, out of the pee trap of the toilet.
Oh, well, that's impossible according to everybody on TikTok, Casey.
Oh, yeah. There was some people trying to, no, really,
it's literally impossible because of gravity.
Well, yeah, and if you close the shutoff valve and flush it, there's still going to be water remaining in the pee trap. I fucking get that. But anyway, there was water kind of down in the pee trap, but there was no water in the bowl itself, really.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 2 was literally on dry porcelain and not, in water. I was like, oh shit. So I looked to see literally if the shutoff valve was shut, which it was on. So I flushed it, and fortunately there was water in the tank that was able to get her down. Mm-hmm. But here I am,
Whoops. Yeah, you're like practicing. Dude, isn't it funny how things like that happen? And then I know what preachers feel like now. I mean, we're not preachers, but we talk about a lot of things on this show that often come back to haunt us in our week-to-week lives.
We're like the Simpsons.
Yeah. We say something like, I believe in manifestation. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. If you don't, then you have not set your mind to something and seen it happen. So I heard somebody talking about this one time, and it really resonated with me. They were like, I have to really watch what I set my mind to, because if I set it towards something negative, it happens. But if I set it towards something positive, it happens. So I set my mind to some big goals, and I know that they're going to happen. They do. I mean, I've failed plenty of times, but ultimately, through resiliency, these goals happen. And sometimes, just as the good stuff happens, you manifest something great. Sometimes you manifest the weirdest stuff. Like, okay, you talked about your upper decker deal. Well, then I remember, what was it, like a week or two later at one of my houses, we had, you went and did some maintenance because the toilet backed up, and it was like brown water coming out of the tank. And you're like, what the hell is going on? So there was that. And then, my camera just turned off. That's weird. And then, now you've got all this other stuff going on. You're just like, dude, what the hell is going on here? Like, and then you're talking about it dried up, and so you got to be careful of what you set your mind to, because you just don't know what could possibly become your reality.
Speaking of, we need to do a follow-up on the old prank call.
Oh, do we? I was just going to leave everybody hanging on that. No, okay. Dude. So we prank called somebody last week.
Why are you doing it all sad? You need to be excited about it.
Because I was hoping to call back. And we could really get him.
So it's still a cool deal.
It is. So he...
So right now, you're manifesting, or you're looking at something on the negative part instead of looking at it as a plus.
Yeah. So...
Glass half full. Come on.
Glass half full. Okay. So if you didn't listen to last week's show, we prank called a business owner. He builds cabinets, really beautiful cabinets, does great work.
An attempted prank call.
Well, it's still a call.
Yeah.
But he just didn't answer.
Yes.
We left him a voicemail, and Casey gave them a really good, deadpan, straight-faced, hey man, y'all came into my house and while I was at work, and you left an upper decker in the toilet. Go listen to it. It's a great voicemail.
It's at the end of the last episode.
Yeah. What?
Or the beginning.
Yeah, it's good. We're not going to tell them where it is in the last episode. You have to listen to the last episode. You have to find it. So just go listen to the last episode. And the last episode's not on YouTube. But anyways, Casey calls him, and we leave a voicemail. He's not available. Well, he takes that, and I get a text later that night. Just said, it was me. I did it. I left you a little upper decky. And I thought that was pretty funny. Well, I immediately screenshotted that, and I texted it to his wife, who put us up to the deal. And I said, you spilled the beans, didn't you? And she was like, I couldn't keep a straight face. He played the voicemail for me, and I just started dying. And she's like, I tried to keep a straight face, but it was just so funny. I just was laughing so hard. And he was like, who is this? Like, he was genuinely concerned. Like who did it? Like, where did it? Like, when did they do that?
But he seriously took it to heart. Like there was an issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. On a Sunday, like it
Yes.
wrecked his Sunday for a few minutes.
It literally tore him up.
Yes.
Okay.
And it tore him up just like his employee dropping an upper decker, you know? And he was literally, oh man. And so like I messaged her and I said, you spilled the beans, didn't you? She goes, I couldn't not. Like he was dying. Like it was bothering him. And but he did admit, yeah, if you guys would have called me, you would have had me. So
yeah,
I'm sad he didn't answer.
Yeah, I like the spur of the moment, the plus and minus. What I did with, it's Father's Day. I don't know if my wife just wanted to even it out, give me the good Father's Day first, then hit me with the bad news.
Yeah, the good
about
news,
the
bad news. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was great, dude. So, anyways, if you didn't hear that, go listen to it. But that's the follow up. The wife spilled the beans.
Yeah,
we didn't get to follow through, but it was good. It's good. So, if you have anybody that you want us to prank call, let us know. We'd love to do it for you. We'd love to get some people going. Oh boy, man, it's getting hot.
Yes, that was my second deal. I had it written right here.
Yeah,
we already hit the dry dock.
Yeah,
so now it's heat.
Yeah, dude, it's like blistering out there this week. It's gonna be. Last week was humid. This week's gonna be over 100 every day, high humidity.
Yes,
it's gonna be pretty tough.
I did the old 7 or 10 day look, and it's hundreds.
Yeah. So everybody that's working out there, and it's hot all over the country, but I know it's especially hot here in Oklahoma this week. What's that Parker Millsap lyric? Oklahoma may be hotter than hell, but it's still better than Texas. You know that song?
No, but that's a good line.
Yeah. What do they call that? Land of the Red Man is the name of that song.
Yeah.
By Parker Millsap. That's a good song, dude. You like that song? Look it up.
A little tip to everybody who loves air conditioning like me. Make sure you have good, clean filters in your house, and make sure your condenser outside is cleaned out from any type of like dust and debris, because
your cottonwoods
wreck
those things, man.
Because the harder that thing is to breathe, it's going to be inefficient. You're going to have freeze up issues. Trust me, I just dealt with it a couple weeks ago, and I'm still kind of dealing with it right now.
We just cleaned ours out last weekend. We need to go to all our houses and do it, but yeah, we just cleaned ours out, made sure it was kicking good. So
yeah, and that's one of them routine, basic, simple things that a lot of us can do that is going to not only make you happy with the AC, but hopefully keep you from like high costs.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, stay cool out there, guys. I mean, seriously, electrolytes, man. A lot of guys don't get good electrolytes in whenever they're working in the field. I've seen this, they go buy Gatorades and stuff, but dude, sugar is like one of the worst things you can have on these hot days. It dehydrates you. So a lot of guys and look, I'm public enemy number one. Whenever I was full-time on the asphalt crew, like there for a while, my lunch every day was, sandwiches and all that. Well, I'd always end it with a Cosmic Brownie, and I would always have Gatorade in my lunchbox. Well, now I've strayed away from the Gatorades and gone to more, I mean, you can get the sugar-free and stuff, but like, I mean, you know me, I use a lot of Element and other things like that. And they're not a sponsor. I just use them,
Yeah.
It's a good electrolyte, gets you a lot of salts built back up in your system. And like whenever you start drinking the sugary electrolytes in the middle of the heat, it's just too hot for it. Like you don't want it. Like your body almost rejects it. But if you get the ones that don't have all the sugar and shit in them, then that's going to help you a lot if you're sweating all day long. But that and just a lot of water, man. Like we've been talking about heat the last couple of weeks, like every week. And whenever I'm giving a safety meeting, man, it's been about heat and hydration and just staying safe while you're working, man. Because this brutal heat and humidity, it'll knock a guy on his ass. That's for sure.
Man, I don't remember back when I was your age or even younger, I don't remember electrolytes being an issue. It almost seems like this big electrolyte push, which justifiably so, has come in the last few years.
Well, when did Gatorade come around? Like
it's been around since probably the late 70s. That's a good Google right there. But Gatorade was, although, dude, they have shit for electrolytes, dude. But the marketing was brilliant to Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. And boy, the Gatorade, you win the championship and they pour the Gatorade deal. And we always have Gatorade. That way everybody's getting their thirst quenched. Well, it might kind of quench your thirst, but for electrolyte wise, it is shitty.
Yeah, it's really not that great for an electrolyte supplement.
But be sure you get your Gatorade in you, dude, because you don't want to be locking up.
Well, here's my thing is back whenever you were that age, I think the quality of food was way better. And so
correlation?
Yeah. I mean, because people weren't fucking fat like they are now back in that time. When you're talking circa 90s, 80s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah. So better quality food with a lot more nutrient in it. Better quality, probably water as well. I mean, they stripped the water down pretty good.
Mineral,
like the water that you and I drink.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of electrolytes in it. I don't know if you've ever looked at the content of it, but it's actually pretty good balanced water for electrolytes. That's all I drink whenever I'm running or doing my
I just went
training.
and refilled yesterday 4 jugs. I didn't go out there, but I bought the.
Yeah. And so it's I think that the food was a lot better back then. I think that that's the biggest thing right there is just the food. Like a lot of food is just nutritionally void. Like it's might have calories, but it has no micronutritional value to it.
And dude, if I don't take at least, especially during the summer, minimum 2 elements a day, just minimum, just to function, minimum. And that's 200 milligrams of like salt, and 1,000 milligrams of potassium, just minimum, I'll be cramping up.
Yeah.
Just minimum.
Yeah. And I think part of that too is just the science is better. I mean, that stuff like electrolytes may not have been an issue back then, quote unquote, but people probably weren't feeling as great as they could have if they had some good electrolytes.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, I swear by electrolytes, man. I mean, you got to have them if you're doing high performance stuff. I mean, like me, if I'm working out, if I'm doing my big training stuff, I mean, you know me, I'm in the office most of the day at work, but if I am working out on the asphalt crew, man, I got to have a lot of electrolytes just because, I mean, ambient temp on a day that's 100 degrees and humid and you're on the asphalt, ambient temp is over 170 degrees. I mean, it's fucking hot.
Yeah. I saw a deal the other day. It was pushing one of the electrolyte companies that competes with like Element. And they were saying something, which it's a subjective deal, but they say if you're doing labor for an hour, you'll lose 200 milligrams of salt. And they broke it down like if you're doing somewhat decent labor, during the summer. Now, granted, we could go, it all depends on body composition, if you're in shape, out of shape, humidity. I mean, there's a ton of factors, but that was just kind of a gist of how much electrolytes you'll lose, meaning you need to replace those things. If not, you're going to lock up.
That's a pretty broad number. Yeah. I mean,
it is, but it's still at least gets the gears turning.
Yeah.
Saying shit, dude.
And what are electrolytes? That's sodium, magnesium, potassium. I'm missing one.
Those are the main ones, though.
Isn't there one other one, though? Sodium, magnesium, potassium are the 3 big ones.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's one more that they usually have in there, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, that'll get you. And a lot of food does have it. I mean, if you eat some, some good food, and, because a lot of people are like, oh, no salt. You should never have salt. Well, the reason a lot of Americans have a high sodium diet is because they're not sweating, for one. They're not blue collar workers, but, they're eating 3 bags of Cheetos or Lay's every day, high carb, things. It's not the salt that's getting them. They're eating excess salt because they're eating all this junk food that has high amounts of sodium or, things like MSG, which is, types of sodium, things like that. And that's what's causing them to have high sodium and heart problems. But really,
and they're not flushing it out of their system.
Higher protein, like this time of year, dude, higher proteins. And I mean, you still need your carbohydrates. So things like that, especially if you're working outside like that. But man, if you can raise your protein to where you're eating a lot higher percentage of protein and you can up your salts, if you need to, then you're going to feel a lot better.
Yeah, I've got I know you've probably seen, but I've got one of them little ammo cans. It's not a metal, it's like a plastic one you can get for like $5 from anywhere. Dude, I love those things for just anything, but I've got it full of my electrolytes. And also I got it full of those little gel
Goose.
Yeah, I can't remember what the deal was, but I talked to you about it about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And I ended up buying like a 30 or 40 assorted pack of it. But I keep those in there. And right before I like do some strenuous work or whatever, I'll do my electrolyte, but then I'll do one of them little goos.
Yeah.
And dude, they come through in a pinch, man. It's good to have those on hand, man.
Those are good if you're about to bonk, man. I wish I would have, whenever I was working out on the crew more, especially a week in a row of just outside 12 hours a day in the fucking heat, shoveling asphalt, man. I wish I would have like known about that kind of stuff. Because there's days, dude, where you're just bonking. I mean, you're just slap out of energy after 10 hours on Friday. You know, you're still out there at 5 p.m. and it's just brutally hot. And you're just, you know, you're almost done with the job. You're trying to get done, dude. You're starting to get tired. Your body's sore from the week, you know, because you can't, it's hard to stay hydrated. It's hard to stay cool doing that day after day after day. And that's where things like that come in handy. Like whenever I run now, I eat a lot of maple syrup. I mean, the goos are good. I've had those. I've got these maple syrup packets that have electrolytes in them, and I'll just eat a big old thing of maple syrup. I eat a lot of maple syrup days that I do my like ultra training. But yeah, dude, those goos are great. Like I've been doing a running course for ultra training, and it's a Chad Wright course. And he was talking about, he goes, man, I don't really use these goos, but I keep one just in case I'm ever bonking because they just hit you so fast.
Yeah.
And they do, man. They work.
Yeah, this is a good topic to talk about right now anyway, because I think a little PSA for anybody listening is to do maybe like kind of what I do. I'm not that I'm Mr. Man, but with the ammo can with electrolytes on hand and like the elements that we keep talking about or those little goos, have that there on the job site. Not only in job site, but with you in your everyday life, dude, because I'm telling you, man, I've dealt with it bad to where I could tell when I'm getting ready to cramp and my whole body is getting ready to lock up. It always starts like either with the forearm or with the calf.
Yeah.
Those are my telltale signs that I'm behind the 8 ball on being dehydrated. And now since I realize that and I can identify that, man, when I feel that little calf cramp come on, I'm already, I should have already had the shit in my system before.
Yeah.
I'm behind, but I'll immediately go and pull one of them packets, and I'll probably do at least 2 of them immediately, chug the water, then pour in another packet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do 2 of them at a time, back to back. And I'm telling you, man, if you feel something coming on like that, or if you have a friend or somebody going down that's like bad cramping, if you have that stuff on hand, it can turn stuff around within 20 to 30 minutes. You can be back on a good course compared to behind. I mean,
dude, I need to see if Element would sponsor us. I bet I've sold so much Element throughout my time because I use so much of that shit and I tell people about it. And I've gotten so many people like started to use it. I bet.
And there's other good companies. I mean, we're big supporters of First Form.
First Form has good electrolytes.
They make their own, but I
like the Element for the hydration sticks, but First Form has a really good one that I use when I run. It's called Ultraformance. It's got carbs in it.
Yeah.
So I have something I can sip on that has a little bit of more, because Element has like no calories.
Right.
You know, so it has more caloric value and it's got some carbs in it to keep me going while I'm running. But no, there's plenty of them, dude. Hoist is another good one. Again, I like Element. I like the effects of Element a little more, but if it's like, sometimes you get tired of the flavors. Like we did this time last year, Victoria and I did the Dirty and Driven 100,000 step challenge. We're drinking Element all day, and dude, by the end of the day, it was like we could not drink any more Element because it was just we were so tired of the flavor.
Well, dude, I've got to
we could have diluted it better, but it just was like you're just hot and just drinking it. Like there's an orange flavor that I still have a hard time drinking just because of that day. I just got so sick of the flavor.
Well, I've gotten to where the same issue, but I got to where I just do the non-flavored.
Yeah, I was drinking that. I got some in my truck right now that I was sipping on. I had it on my bike ride this morning and didn't finish it, but yeah, dude, it's good stuff. It's important to just talk about this stuff because I don't think a lot of people understand proper hydration. And dude, a lot of guys hate to hear it too, but golly, you got to watch your alcohol at night.
Yeah,
I mean, you really do. Like if you're, if you drink every day, for example, if you have 1 or 2, like whatever, but if you're one of those guys that you smash a 6-pack or 12-pack every night, dude, you're dehydrating your body and you're setting yourself up for failure the next day, especially if you do it day in, day out.
I'm guilty of it. Like last night, worked around the house, sipped on my little wine a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This morning I wake up, I'm super dehydrated. What's the first thing I do? I drink me an energy drink. So now I'm double dehydrating, right? Because realistically, I should have put electrolytes in my body last night or first thing in the morning.
Which some of the energy drinks have electrolytes in them.
So, not to the extent of where I put my body, right?
Yeah.
So,
like the First Form ones,
Mhm.
I mean, and I'm not trying to just dick ride First Form here, but I mean, I use a lot of their products and I
Yeah.
really like them.
I do
Again,
too.
not a sponsor, but yeah, dude, I'll drink those sometimes if I'm working hard, and they they don't make me feel like shit.
yeah. Another thing I keep in my little ammo can is those First Form beef sticks,
Oh
or like the breakfast sticks or whatever.
yeah.
Or I'll also just get like the 100% beef meat sticks or jerky sticks. I have all of these. I have actually 2 cans that I keep in my truck for. A lot of times I'm out away from the house or away from a gas station, and I don't want to fucking leave. I'm out. I'd love to leave, you know.
Yeah, but it's hard to leave. And,
Yes,
and do that.
when you're there and time is money, and especially when you're working on your own shit.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a by the hour guy fucking the system, yeah, let's go to the gas station and burn the clock.
Yeah,
But-
I got guys that do that.
but when you don't want to, man, it's handy having that stuff. Even the Vienna sausages, I know it's funny, but like the barbecue Vienna sausages, I know they're highly processed, but they've got a good salt content in there. They've got a good protein content, and I had those when I was doing a bunch of spraying on the road out in the boondocks. Dude, they'd come through in a pinch because I wanted to eat, but I was so far away from food that I had those in my ammo can. I'd bust those things open, and just one can of those small things got me to where I was back on the up and up.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, protein and electrolytes, man, that's going to make your body function so much more. You know, a lot of people, especially blue collar guys, they overeat calories, but they undereat nutrients.
Yeah.
So, you know, I look at like my lunch as a construction worker for the longest time is I would eat 2 ham sandwiches. I'd put a thick amount of ham on there, or sometimes it'd be I'd have a ham sandwich and a peanut butter sandwich. Well, I'd have 2 pieces of whatever cheap bread I could buy, and then with ham and some cheese, some mayonnaise, some mustard, and then I'd have another sandwich with some peanut butter and jelly, and that was it. That was my lunch, and then a bag of Lay's usually, and a Cosmic Brownie. So I'm eating realistically. I'm probably getting 25 grams of protein. And I'm probably eating 90 to 100 grams of carbs. And that's a big deficit. And you know, there's not much there of valuable micronutrients. And that's why a lot of people get fat, dude, is because they're not eating enough protein. Protein, you actually burn calories eating protein because it's harder for your body to break down. So your body's working harder to break that protein down. But the best way is explained to me is like carbs are like gasoline, protein's like the oil. You know what I mean? So you got to keep that in your engine. You got to keep it going to keep everything running good. If you don't have enough of it, you're going to have issues. So you got to eat more protein. And, you know, that's coupled with fucking kolaches from the gas station for breakfast, which again, you know, that's a hot dog wrapped up in bread. So there's another 20 grams of carbs, maybe 9 grams of protein and 15 grams of fats. Which fats are good too, you know, but you got to get more protein. So things like your beef sticks and my favorite quick protein source lately has been pork rinds.
Mm-hmm.
I actually bought these ones. They're microwavable, so they stay in a little tin like this. And then you put them in a brown bag, like a paper bag, and I got some in my truck right now. You microwave them, and then they'll fluff up like big pork rinds.
Really?
They don't have all the shitty oil in them. They're not deep fried.
What are they called?
The brand is J&J Critters Pork Rinds.
Mm-hmm.
They're an Oklahoma company. They're really good, dude.
And what do they come in?
They come in just a little like plastic tub, and then you pour them into your brown bag, heat them up in the microwave for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and dude, that's a good protein source.
Did you order them online or get them locally?
I bought these at the Herb Festival. Whenever we had that, we have a big, you know, garden festival every year that is pretty good actually.
Yeah.
But they had a booth there. I've bought them for several years. My parents used to be big into them whenever they were keto. My parents were keto for a long time and they were big into these pork rinds, but I just eat them too, just as a good high protein snack. And I think you can order them, but they're good, man.
Yeah. I never thought of pork rinds being a protein pack, but
High protein, dude. Like
what about the chicharrones that you buy like from a gas station?
I will buy those in a pinch, but they're usually deep fried and shitty oils, and you never know how long they've been in there.
But they still have protein.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Pork rinds are high protein, man.
Yeah.
Like just for example, today I made 3 ounces of those in that bag. So it's about similar to if you went and just bought a bag from the gas station, around 3 ounces, 63 grams of protein and only 12 grams of fat.
Yeah.
Which I like high fat. I wish they were actually a little higher fat, but 63 grams of protein for a freaking lunch sack of pork rinds. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, and I told you about
Sodium. I mean, dude, that's
Yeah,
perfect
definitely.
for me. I mean, that's a great snack for me.
I told you about back in the day whenever I went to a few Mexican bars
Oh yeah.
and I went in there and they had the fresh pork rinds and they had whatever type of salt, the red salt that they put on it. But then the fresh lime on fresh pork rinds, squeeze that lime on there and have you a cerveza. Shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. I've been to a couple. I went to a barbecue restaurant in Atlanta. That was instead of chips, they brought out pork rinds. In fact, my band played a bar probably it's been a month or two now, and they had pork rinds back there. They had food there too, but they had pork rinds back there. And I was like, can I get the thing of them pork rinds? It's like 11 p.m. They're like, yeah, they've kind of been sitting here for a little bit. I was like, I don't give a shit, man.
Yeah,
And I was eating them. I was like, these are some damn good pork rinds,
that's
man.
a perfect bar food. Along with the pickled eggs, the big old pickled egg jar sitting on the bar.
Dude, we just bought pickled quail eggs, man. Them suckers are good. But anyways, yeah, dude. So that was a conversation I didn't think we'd be getting into today. But yeah, dude, that's such good stuff for heat and just keeping your body functioning good. I mean, I think that blue collar people forget that they are athletes. I mean, whenever you're up and you're performing every day, especially if you're laboring in the heat, dude, you are an athlete.
Yeah.
A blue collar person is an athlete. I mean, I don't know what the dictionary definition of an athlete is, but if you're out there, you're working hard, your heart rate's up, you're sweating, you're performing, you're expected to perform, you are an athlete. You're on a team, you're moving, you're working hard, you are an athlete. And what you put in your body as an athlete matters. A lot of guys say, well, I work out every day because I work out in the field every day. Well, okay, that's great. You're physically active. Awesome. But what are you putting in your body to keep you healthy and to keep you moving and to take care of your body so it can recover from doing that night after night after night, day after day after day? So it's really important to watch your food intake and research and learn what you need to do to actually properly eat and be the athlete that you are. Because your body is what makes you money.
Yeah.
And if you're laid up and you can't work because you got heat stress or because you injured yourself or because you're sick because you have liquid diarrhea for the 3rd day in a row because all you've eaten is Taco Bell the last 3 days, then you can't work and you need to take care of yourself to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I try to consciously do that. For the past few years, I've really realized that, dude, if I end up hurting myself for making bad decisions, whether it's with food or with being stupid, doing something really dynamic and popping a hamstring or popping a bicep tendon, then I can't make money for my family. And it's a bad fucking deal. So I try to make the right decisions, kind of like you're talking about with the food.
Yeah, even off the field, if you will, outside of the field. That's why I quit playing rugby, dude. I got a bad concussion. And whenever I went back trying to bid a job the next week and I had short-term memory loss for a good couple weeks, dude, I done right there, dude.
Yeah.
If this is going to affect my livelihood, fuck that.
Yeah, what happens too is a situation like that. Let's say that you didn't realize about your concussion. Then the next year, 2 or 3, you hadn't quite been active doing your rugby moves and running and all that. And the guy said, hey, dude, come down and got a pickup game. James, you want to play? Sure. You go there and you're not, like I said, used to doing the dynamic, explosive shit. That's where the injuries happen.
Dude, I learned that lesson. I was running, training for my marathon a few months ago. And I think that I had set out to run like 15 miles that day. It was a pretty long run for me. And the next week was a rest week. So this was like the end of, I do 3 weeks, gain in distance, and then I choke it back for a week. Let my body kind of recover. I'm on week 3 of that training evolution. I'm pretty exhausted at this point. set out to run 15 miles. Well, I accidentally kind of misplanned my route. So I was going longer, and dude, and it was starting to get a little bit hot. This was in the middle of the winter, so it was getting to be like a high 70s, which right now I'd be thankful for.
Yeah.
But in the middle of winter, you're prepared for it to be cold. And it started out kind of cold, started out in like the 50s, and then it was starting to heat up quite a bit. And you're not, I just wasn't used to it, you know? And I was like, fuck, dude, I got to just get this 15 miles done. Well, out there at Lake Ponca, there's those cables. And I could have gone all the way around the deal where the old racetrack used to be and all that, around the beach and everything. And I was like, dude, I need to cut the biggest corner I can. Otherwise, I'm going to be running like an extra, mile or two. And I can't, dude. I'm so freaking juiced right now. I don't think I had enough food with me. I don't think I had enough water. Like I just totally misplanned that run. Yeah. And, I've been running and I'm on mile 11 or 12. No, I'm past that. I'm like mile 13 or 14. And I go and I hurdle one of those little cables. I've been running just that same deal, just regular old, just like, probably 9.5 minute pace running. And I go and I hurdle that deal that's only like 1.5 foot off the ground. Whenever I jump, dude, my knees were like, oh, and I was like, oh, that hurts so bad. Fuck, because I wasn't used to that dynamic movement, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're you're doing this pace, and your legs are only stretching this far, then you try to
hurdle
it. Foot.
Yeah, you try to hurdle that thing. I did it, and I was like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling, man. When you're like I talked about behind the 8 ball, and you know that dude, this ain't fucking good. I need to cool down. I need to eat. I need to get some help. This ain't good.
Yeah, dude, that's bad. I've only aborted one run ever. And it was actually not even on one of my long run days. I just was going and I got like 2.5, 3 miles in. And I'd been tired. I hadn't slept enough the 3 days before it. And I mean, dude, this happened to me on the asphalt crew before too, but it just to a lesser extent because I could stop and I could cool off or, I could eat something. I always had plenty of food out there, but I was running one day and I hadn't had enough sleep the last like 2-3 days leading up to it. And I got like 3 miles in. I was about to turn around. I was at the halfway point. Dude, my body just gave out. And I had to call my wife to come pick me up. I was like, I literally cannot run. Like, I'm trying to. My mind says run, but my body is just like, nope.
Yeah, and you've heard those stories where those people have misplanned. They go to do a nice little nature hike in California or in Nevada or somewhere, and then they realize that, shit, we didn't pack enough water. We made the wrong turn. That helpless feeling, man.
Yeah.
Just hopefully you're pre-planning.
Yeah. All right, man. We got a couple other things we were going to talk about before we wrapped up. For one, I just want to talk about a couple of cool jobs I went on. One of them, dude, this is where you just don't see how important blue collar people are to your day-to-day lives. We go and we turn on the water spigot and it's fresh, clean water. Flush the toilet, it fills back up. You flick the light switches on and you just expect it to come on, right? All that stuff. Well, I was underneath a water treatment plant. This is a couple weeks ago now. I just keep forgetting to talk about it, but I've been helping out with this job and I finally went on site of a town here in Oklahoma. They're replacing all their filter lines and stuff like that. It's cool to see that. It's a tiny room. It's about as wide as our studio here, and there's these massive pipes. I posted a picture of it, and all the water for that whole town's coming through there. So they're running half capacity water. And this time of year, dude, that's hard. I mean, because they have a water holding tank underground that they try to fill up to it's like 19 feet deep. Mm-hmm. Well, normally they try to keep it at 19 foot overnight. They'll catch up. It'll purify overnight. Yeah. It'll fill up. Great. Well, now it's like they're barely able to get it to like 12 or 13 feet. So by the end of the day, dude, they're almost out of water on some of these really hot days.
Right.
People filling up their pools and watering their gardens and lawns and all that. And, just a lot more water getting used. And, dude, the people of the town have no idea how close they are to literally being out of water every single day. And there's just these blue collar dudes in there just fucking fighting it out like 4 to 5 at a time because you can't have more than that in there because it's so small.
Right.
You can barely get a forklift in there to get these big ass like 48-inch pipes up there. It's just crazy, dude. So I saw that a couple weeks ago, and it was just nuts. Just wanted to talk about that. I think it's cool.
It's cool to see the guts of stuff like that.
Yeah. Stuff that the general public's never going to see, doesn't even know it's there.
And maybe if who gives a fuck? You know, maybe there's some people like that, but that stuff is interesting.
Yeah. And it's a big puzzle piece, dude. Like I was talking to the project manager, and he was like showing me basically the schematics of how everything goes. And he goes, dude, this is a big puzzle piece. And he said, I ended up being the only one who could bid on it because every other contractor said this is an impossible job to do. And he goes, I looked at it and I saw this and that. And he goes, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know? And he figured it out, and he goes, it's fun, man. These make you think.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, dude. Because it was originally built in the 20s, so it wasn't made for 2024 access issues. So it was a 100-year-old water treatment plant.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't made for modern day equipment and stuff like that. So they're trying to retrofit it and make it work, and it's crazy, dude.
That's the best thing for jobs too, is things that make you think. You can go through the old same old to where you can do it, you know, blindfolded, but when you keep them gears turning, man.
Yeah. Oh, it makes it way more enjoyable. So I saw that, and then dude, did you drive down 177 this week? Heading like towards the Casino and all that?
No.
Okay. Did you hear any of the shit talk on Facebook about it?
I don't know. Let's hear it.
Well, so they're doing this interesting job. I think it's a Band-Aid. That road's getting pretty bad. Mm-hmm. You know, major highway between us and Stillwater, Oklahoma, home of the Cowboys. Go Pokes.
Hey, shout out to the Cowboys on being future Big 12 or whatever they call it champions now that OU's gone.
Yeah. So they're putting down what's called a scrub seal, which is a chip seal. You know what a chip seal is, right? Kind of. You spray oil on the road, you put rock on top of it.
They did that at my house.
Yeah.
And it works great.
Very common out there on like county roads,
yes.
Low traffic. It's not great for a major highway.
But for us, dude, because we used to have pretty much dirt right when I moved in. And fortunately, right after I moved in, they did that, man. And now it's great.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Because we would get stuck.
Yeah. Great for stuff like that,
yes.
Right? So they're doing this deal where they're putting down what's called a scrub seal, which is a chip seal, but they pull this giant, literally a bunch of brooms, like sweeping brooms.
Right.
You know, they're in kind of an X pattern, and it works it all into the cracks. Pretty cool. So it works everything into the crack, seals it up, and then they put a little bit of a rock on top of it. And dude, the amount of people bitching and hollering about it because they're going to come back through and they're going to put asphalt on top of it. This was basically just a moisture barrier, seal the cracks, you know, get everything, keep the moisture out, hopefully help fix the road for the next 5 to 10 years until it can actually get fixed. Right. You know, because they'll have to do a full depth rebuild because that road's just going to shit. But it's such a major road and they don't have it in the plan. They have an 8-year plan, ODOT does, of, okay, in the next 8 years, these are the jobs we're going to do. This is how much it's going to cost. This is how we prepare for it. It's pretty cool. But, you know, it's just, we're going to slap this Band-Aid on this road to keep it going longer. And so they're doing that, dude. Watching that much traffic drive on a freshly chip sealed road is just hilarious because it's just fucking gravel kicking up and everybody's literally, it's not even our job, but one of our vendors was out there who sells the oil. And he goes, hey, you want to come out here? I'm like, hell yeah. So I go out there and I'm hanging out with them and we're watching it. And dude, the amount of people that saw me out there and they start calling me and texting me, what the fuck are you guys doing? Putting gravel on the road? Da, 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 da. I'm like, easy, you know, it's going to get better. But dude, there for a minute, it was like a major highway with just fucking gravel all over the road. It was a shit show, man. It was funny.
Well, keep in mind whenever you see stuff like that to leave some space between the person in front of you.
Yeah, and people weren't willing to do that because it was also really dusty. So anyways, just thought it would be fun to talk about that for a minute. A lot of Facebook complaints about that. So just wanted to say they are going to put asphalt over that and it will not be like that anymore after that. So dude, the other thing I wanted to talk about, this is infrastructure, right? Energy is a big deal right now. You're seeing in a lot of countries allegedly they don't have enough energy output to keep up with the record heat we've been having the last 2 years for global warming. You know, you see it a lot in Brazil. is a big one. Spain, a lot of these places, European countries, a lot of European countries are on this new narrative of we don't have enough energy for all this heat to cool houses and do this and that. And hell, you saw it in Texas after that big ice storm a couple of years ago, just how weak our grid is. So they're always talking about renewable energy, right? Wind and solar and all that. Well, now, and that's all important, man. Again, like I said, we just expect to walk in, flip the lights on. Oh, boom, there they are. Sweet. And if they're not on, then what the hell's going on, So they're always coming up with new ideas for quote unquote renewable energy. So I see that they're building a new $4 billion nuclear power plant in, where did I see that was at?
Up north somewhere.
I want to say Wyoming.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it was Wyoming. And you think, oh, great, because I've always been on the deal of a great renewable power source is nuclear energy. That's from what I've seen. And, I've read some books about it and things like that. And I've actually read some books about it, not just like whenever people say I've read an article, but they watched a TikTok. I mean, I've actually studied up on this a little bit. And from what I've seen, wind and solar is not the most efficient, but nuclear is a great renewable energy source. Well, the government has not been pushing much for nuclear energy. They've kind of been against it. But now, $4 billion nuclear power plant's being built. And you know who's heading it up?
You sent it to me.
Billy Gates.
Yeah.
So I put our ace reporter, Casey D, on it. I told him to minimally study this and then give me his take. Go.
If you could have a chart on where minimal would be, it'd be underneath where it'd say the minimal starting point. It was underneath there.
So you read the text message I sent you, and that's all I wanted.
And I didn't do my homework. So,
well, what are your thoughts on it? First thoughts.
Nuclear power, just from kind of what I know, which I know fucking shit, is badass. But
yeah,
people look at rightfully so, the flip side of it. You look at the Chernobyl deal, and you look at the Fukushima deal, to where when you had them bad disasters, how it takes however millions of years for that stuff to dissipate. So you've got that one in. Dude, I went down a rabbit hole the other day on, it might have been Nixon talked about having 1,000 nuclear power plants in the U.S. by 85 or 95, like really going that route, getting out of fossil fuels. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much got nixed. I mean, we're like at 45 or 48 nuclear power plants in the U.S. It's something very, very small, but that was all down the rabbit hole of a lot of people would have lost money should we went the nuclear power out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've always thought. Is it's pretty, once you build it, it's big up front, but it's relatively cheap after that. I think that it's a great source of energy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's renewable. Did you say renewable?
Well, it lasts a long time, those reactors and everything, dude.
Like what is renewable, though?
Well, I mean, whenever I say green, clean energy, if you will.
Yeah, okay. Then that makes sense. But like the nuclear-powered subs and shit, I can't remember like how long, and even the aircraft carriers and shit that run off nuclear power, man, it's insane.
Yeah.
That they can harness all of that energy in something small and it'd be able to last that long.
Yeah, and it's pretty inexpensive once you do it, and it covers a broad area. Like this one that they're talking about says it's going to power 400,000 homes and businesses. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of power, dude. For one plant.
Yeah.
400,000? That's a shitload. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Obviously, there's a lot of politics when it comes to that kind of stuff. Several years ago, they were actually going to build a brand new coal-fired plant south of town here, where we have a coal-fired plant that's still operational. They were going to build a brand new one. There has not been a brand new coal-fired plant built, I could say a number, I want to say since like the 70s or something like that. Like if you built one with up-to-date technology, dude, I mean, it'd be great. Right? You know, it'd be very eco-friendly. I mean, they've retrofitted most of them. This one, they put big scrubber units on it 7 or 8 years ago, things like that to make it cleaner, better emissions, fit the narrative, right? Fit the stuff. And they don't actually put that much pollution out into the air. I've talked to a lot of people with that company, and they do wind and coal and all that, But I've talked to some of their higher ups, and they've explained it to me like, yeah, this is, a lot of it's bullshit. It's politics, da da da. So they've always been like kind of anti-nuclear, and I'm assuming because it's cheap and you're not going to make as much money off of it. So then you go and you start diving down this conspiratorial rabbit hole, and you go, why does Bill Gates want to build a nuclear reactor power plant? And that's where I just keep going back to. That the U.S. government is funding, I will add.
Yeah, there you go.
They're funding, I think that said like 70% of the construction of it. So.
Scratch our back, we'll scratch yours.
Yeah, but why? I mean, you know what I mean? I just keep going back to sketchy people are involved here.
I like it.
I like that it's I like that we're seeing a nuclear power plant. I hope it's great. I hope it's a smashing success. I hope that their hearts are in the best interest. But I don't think they are.
I'll look into that, and next time we talk,
You'll get back to me.
I'll have some stronger opinions.
Yeah. I just don't know. It's just questions, because I'm all for nuclear energy. And, a lot of the safety stuff, like you read about Chernobyl, you read about Fukushima, a lot of that was mismanagement, not doing the right things at the right times. And, really it's not, I don't know. There's a lot that you could read on about that, but very preventable mistakes. Also, the technology is so much better now than it was when those two things happened.
But keep in mind, too, even like with safety policies and protocols, it takes learning lessons like that to, okay, if we do this in the future, we got to be sure to be able to mitigate and get that deal like engineered out to where that shit will not happen.
Do you think it's just so Bill Gates has control? So he can just keep taking over the risk board? Now he owns your internet access. He owns your energy. He owns whatever your food sources. He just keeps buying up everything.
I guarantee you, he didn't get the jab.
Yeah, I mean, he owns your pharmaceuticals. So he's just trying to he's funding all this crazy shit, and you're like, you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, because owns more farmland in the nation than anybody.
Yeah, look at the maps of all the farmland, all the land that the Chinese own that are all by these military bases.
Yeah, that's a big one. But I mean, what I'm saying is, to look at how much farmland Bill Gates has bought.
Well, that too. Yeah.
I'm just saying he's bought all this farmland, and he's like the number one landowner in the U.S. He's buying all these family farms out, through guises of other shell companies and this and that and the other. So he's trying to own your food source. He's trying to switch everybody to, quote unquote, vegan. He owns the, whatever it's called, Unbelievable Meats or whatever, Impossible Meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing that shit. Pushing he has high stakes in pharmaceuticals. Now he's high stakes in energy. It's like housing, high stakes in housing. And it's just like, this guy literally is about to own like every aspect of your life in some of these areas. Yeah. And that's pretty scary. And he's not the only one. I mean, he's the name that gets thrown out there a lot, but there's other ones, and they're in cahoots with the government, and it's just kind of like, it just makes you ask questions.
Yeah, if you start looking at the one world government or the World Economic Forum and kind of their intent,
yeah,
you'll own nothing and you will love it.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, man. I mean, it just makes you think. But either way, it will create a lot of jobs, and a lot of blue collar people will get to do some cool shit building a nuclear power plant. So that's cool.
And you know where the term conspiracy theory came from?
Where?
This is no shit. It came from people questioning the JFK assassination.
Really?
They would call those people they're just conspiracy theorists to think that the government would do that to a sitting president. That's where they pinned it. And conspiracy, just on questioning a narrative, just because you question something and you have a different thought, you're termed as a bad person.
Yeah. And I'm not going to dive down the rabbit hole on this, man.
We just did.
I know. But I'm not going to like spend hours researching it and studying it and like watching all these YouTube videos of dudes that just started talking about shit online, got a following, like not everything is a conspiracy, and diving down this stuff really and truly, is it going to make my quality of life better? No. Am I going to be able to stop it? No. Unless I can do things about it, I try not to let this stuff weigh me down, but it truly does make you wonder, because on one hand, you're like, this looks like a great thing. And on the other hand, you're like, but what's the background?
It'd be great until Trump came into office in 2016 and started exposing the swamp and all the COVID bullshit. It'd be great to be able to take these 3-letter agencies for their word, like the EPA and the FDA. Meaning, I'm not going to quote, if the FDA approves it, fuck yeah, dude. Hey, they put a stamp on it. That means it's good for you.
But Trump was pushing that shit too.
No, I'm not. That's not my fucking point.
Oh, okay.
My point is when he came in and said, guys, Washington is a big old fucking swamp. There's a lot of shit they're going to get. Then that's when I keep talking about the access to information, but social media, that's when you really started seeing, oh my God, there's a lot of these bureaucrats and stuff that really aren't looking out for our best interests because they're getting funded by these pharmaceutical companies or whatever to push this bill, to push this. That's all I'm getting at is that's when the gears started. I'm not saying Trump was the man. All I'm saying is during that time, and then whenever COVID came along and get the jab, God damn it, take the jab. For Christ's sakes, take the jab. Do it for your country. Oh, shit, but then when you realize that, hey, they're actually probably not giving good advice, they probably have ulterior motives. All I'm saying is that's when the gears started turning with me, and even like with the Food and Drug Administration.
I think, but what I want to get on this is, and I hear what you're saying, I really do. I think that a lot of people dive down these conspiracies, and I say this, I don't mind talking about this because I see it a lot at work. It's a lot of us regular folks, right? Common sense, blue collar Americans, right? That dive down these rabbit holes. And in 2020, I got really depressed, and I think a lot of people did. Okay, I think most of the nation did because why? They isolate you in your house. And I'm reading a book right now. One of our dedicated listeners told me to read it. It's called The Anxious Generation. It talks a lot about this kind of thing, about phone-based. In the book, it talks about childhood, but I think that you're starting to see it spread into adults and everything too. They lock you down in your house, right? Everybody stay home. Everybody stay home. Everybody stay home. Don't go out. So now everybody's scared and fearful. And then you get the guys questioning it. What the fuck's going on here? Everybody's kind of, you get the people who just go along with the narrative, right? And then you get the people that are, what the hell's going on here? So both of them are isolating themselves. Why? Because the ones that are going with the narrative, they're saying, stay at home, don't go outside, don't do this, don't do that, don't go to your friend's house, don't go see grandma, stay at home. So they're home. They're isolating themselves. They're at home. That's it. Boom. Okay. Well, then the people who are like, nah, fuck that. Well, little do they know, they're also following the narrative because now they're at home. They're spending hours listening to fucking podcasts and watching YouTube videos and what's going on here and like on these online groups. And they're not face to face talking to each other, right? They're online and they're talking about this is bullshit. What's going on here? But little do they know they're actually still part of the problem. And I was, again, guilty. Raise my hand right now. Guilty, right? You get really depressed diving down these rabbit holes of what the fuck's going on and dig it in there. And I think that that's all part of the plan, man, is whenever you start getting scared and like, you can say I'm not scared, but you can say this is bullshit and this is fuckery going on and screw that. And, I'm not like that. But if all you're doing is researching this stuff and you're scared and you're isolating yourself from the world because you're trying to figure out these conspiracies, which a lot of them probably are true. But how is that affecting your quality of life?
You got the point I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because you kind of stepped away from it. Well, I'm getting what you just said. My point is, and you can only research stuff for so long. You can only look into stuff for so long. All my point was a little bit ago was I would like to think that doctors have your best interests in heart. I would like to think our government has our best interests. I mean, I'd like to think that's coming from a good spot to hopefully take care of us, give us good recommendations.
Yeah.
But when I went back to 2016 and then all this shit that's happened since, it made me think that, dude, I mean, you can only research stuff for so long. Then you have to come to a conclusion. All right, dude. With the information that I had, this is the best choice at heart, but I'd like to be able to take stuff 100% face value from whoever, and I'm realizing that there's a lot of fuckery that goes on.
Yeah, for sure, man. There is. And it's getting pushed down into companies and stuff too. I was having this conversation the other day. Somebody I know that works for a major employer, Fortune 50 company, talking about how, oh man, I've been with this company for 25 years. You used to feel like somebody there. And now, fuck, you feel like you'd get fired next day.
I deal with it where I'm at.
Yeah.
I remember
a lot
back,
of people do. I've seen it in family companies. I've seen it in corporate companies. I've seen it in small companies, big companies. That's just the way that things are starting to shift because of this overarching narrative. And then you start even having like these little things, I see workers all the time starting to have conspiracies of, they did da-da-da. That means da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, no, dude, that's not what's going on here. Like, I was part of that decision that was made. It's just we overlooked this, or, this is why we did it this way. Like, but people are starting to think this way with everything, and it kind of screws you up, man.
What do you do?
What do you do? Anyways, we got to wrap this sucker up, shut this unit down, son. I got to go meet my wife. You got any final thoughts, Casey D?
Stay hydrated, man.
Yeah.
And that's
dude, I love that. I love how we came back. Stay hydrated,
dude. Because I'm getting ready to go deal with it right now.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go down the river with my wife and my 2 granddaughters. We're going to go look for arrowheads and stuff.
Oh, I want to go.
And dude, it's, on sand, especially, at least we'll have water there, but it's going to be 100-degree days from here on out. But
that water reflects the heat too.
Keep in mind, man, if you're getting ready to do something, get them electrolytes, whatever, in your system. And if you have a tinge of the little calf cramp, because your body, if you feel something coming on, try to face it off right there and get it taken care of.
Yeah, for sure, man. Man, I just want to say, guys, if you like the show, please give us a 5-star review. Consider dropping some money in the tip jar. We would appreciate that too. You can find it in the show notes below, just the tip. It would mean the world to us. Stay safe in all this heat, guys. Seriously, remember that you are an athlete. It does not matter if you think you're an athlete. It doesn't matter if you were a band nerd in high school. If you're working in the trades, you are an athlete, and you are putting your body through the test every day. Even if you're just an equipment operator and you're just out in the heat, dude, you're still an athlete. You're still doing things that are putting your body through physical stress just by being out there. So take care of yourself. Reach out to us if you have questions or want to hear more about some of that kind of stuff. You can email us dirtyandriven@gmail.com. You can message us on Instagram. Or if you want to buy some merch, dirtyandriven.com. And remember, the best way to handle things and to combat challenges that come up in your life, whether they be mental or physical challenges, is to just get out there and do something hard today.
By God.